visualize the mind as a steady purpose, a point on which the soul may fix its intellectual eye.
Okay, now that's a little bit more of a hello and welcome to start a video now, is it? Now, for once, I finally got my shit together and I found an editing software that allows me to record long videos and edit them as well. So that's why I haven't really been posting any gaming videos, is well, mainly because of, I couldn't find correct editing software. So all I could do was make short meme videos. But now that I finally found something that I could use, I can now play games again. I still don't have my mobile device, which means I can't play Path of Titans. But as you could see here, I'm on a Chromebook, which means I have a variety of a couple extra games to record and play around with until I get this issue sorted out and stuff. But yeah, this game is called Crescent Loom. It's not yet complete, yet it's still a great and wonderful game, and should be should have like a lot more people knowing about it and stuff. First, I'm going to talk to you guys about the maps, then body parts, and I'm going to show you how to create life in this game. This one doesn't have a purpose. This one's basically a tutorial. It's a closed off area of food. This over here is an open area with food. An open area is basically this like small little map, but you could go out to the like walled edge or something, like the infinite abyss and stuff, because there's like no more terrain. This here's another non-closed off map with no food. I'll get to what food is in a little bit. Over here is a closed-in area, which is basically like a box with some terrain and caves in without food. And this one here is a closed area with food. And NPC creatures, which are creatures that are already in the map. Usually about 3 of them. Once in a while, the creatures change into different creatures. But I'm going to be starting off with the tutorial to teach you guys the basics.
This is the loom. It allows us to create new life forms, both their body and their brain. First things first, we need a body. Things can get pretty fancy, but for now, a simple spine will do.
Believe me, things can get hella fancy around here. But anyway, so this is a spine. It's a flexible piece of bone, basically a spine. This over here is a spindle. It's like a skinny spine. The spine's the only thing I can reference right now, but spindles are like a skinny, non-flexible spine with no drag. Over here is a plate, which, pretty self-explanatory. It's a plate. A nub, in my opinion, is one of the best body parts out there for building. Like if you are stuck on something or you need to attach a muscle to something, bam, attach a nub to it. If you want to make an eye stock, bam, put eyes on the nub. I mean, nubs are extremely versatile. Over here's a hip. I almost said simp. Over here's a hip. It's basically 2 spines stuck together. Over here is basically like a spine but on steroids, because spines kind of have like a resistance to bending and stuff, while this one is basically like a loose piece of rope. And over here it's like a spindle, but bendy and flexible, and it has a heavy drag because, it's a fin. And this here is basically a spine, but, without the flexibility. It's just a solid piece of bone, like its description says. Anyway, so those are the basic building blocks.
It won't get
Oh,
far without a tail.
okay, and this here is a fin. Bam.
Muscles give motion, and motion is life.
Okay, so here are muscle.
One
Oh,
long muscle is stronger
I don't really exactly know what these are called, but I just call them muscle points. So you attach muscle to them. You could drag and hold to attach muscle, or you could click and
Brain is where the real
oof. Or you could click on the individual parts for precise muscle placement. And yeah. Now over here is the
red
brain.
cells are motor neurons and control the muscles we just placed. Easiest way to get things going is with a pacemaker neuron, which turns on and off by itself.
Okay, this here is a pacemaker. The tutorial just said
Connect it to a motor neuron.
what it is. Over here is a basic neuron. It's a neuron that does nothing but can be used for other things. Over here is a plateau neuron. So you, if you turn on a plateau neuron, then it stays on. But there's this other type of thing called inhibiting. And basically, okay, so you see we power it, and even if this thing's off, it stays powered. But over here is inhibiting. Now this here is basically the opposite of powering. It turns off stuff. So this one here, once it gets activated, it turns off the plateau neuron. So it's kind of like a form of memory in a way, or it could be used as a form of memory. Um, Pretty self-explanatory. It stays on until it turns off, but then once it stops being turned off, it goes back on again. Once it gets turned on, it stays turned on a little bit afterwards. This one is delayed. This one, you press a key bind or key and it activates it. It has like a couple of keys to it, like up, left, down, right, but you can't really see right because it's covered. And yeah, those are basically all the neurons. Now over here, some organs have special neurons of their own, which controls how these organs act and behave, but more on that later. The senses also have neurons, but instead of being activated, they activate. Depending on what the body part says, your decorations are useless. They don't do anything. They're just, decorations. Anyway, so let's just. So at the beginning, these. Oh. So at the beginning, these two things are out of sync. But how you can make them sync up is by doing this. And bam. So yeah, when this one turns on, it makes sure this one doesn't turn on while it's being turned on. But by the time this one turns off, this one's going to turn on, and same thing happens again. That makes a predictable and like controlled thing instead of it just being randomly each one being turned on and off independently from one another. But now we power these muscle neurons, which activate the muscle. And once we activate the muscle and we press space, bam, look at that. Look at it go. Look at that thing. Ignore the glitches. The things which you just saw fall down are food spawners. Now, this only happens in the tutorial because it's mildly randomly generated, but the tutorial randomly spawns the food spawners, and sometimes it would spawn without ground underneath them, so they act like, falling objects until they hit ground so they can have a proper space to spawn stuff on. These green things are unfinished plant food that only spawn in the tutorial. But the creator has big plans for this type of food. I'll get into food in just a sec soon. And the blue things are plankton. Now that's the main food source in the game. Every single map that has available food, every map besides the ocean map and the caverns map has food spawners in them, which means that they spawn food. Wait a second, the ocean map has food. What I meant is the caverns map and the sand flats map, sorry. But as you can see, this creature I made is dumb because, well, it swims in a repetitive action without even thinking of it. So what we want to do to make it a tad bit smaller is that let's just turn this on, which basically does that. It makes it like symmetrical. So we place down eyes. Okay. So we want this thing to not face plant into rocks. So what we do is that we make the eyes only detect rocks, like so. This here is optional, but I put it on high so the eyes are a little bit more effective when turning on or detecting stuff. So we put the eyes over here. So when this one gets powered, then it has to turn this one off because the rock is over here because it sees the rock. So if this thing right here turns off, then this one's going to be the one that's powered and it effectively turns the creature. But we want it to be a little bit more efficient than that. So what we could do is that instead of making the eyes turn off the muscles, we can make the eyes turn on the muscles instead. Yeah. So when this eye activates, and when it sees a rock over here, it would end up turning this muscle on, which makes it dot the opposite direction. Now in theory, this should work, and it's probably going to work. Just warning, these unfinished food plants are detected as rocks, but that's a bug at the moment. But as you can see, the thing now swims away from rocks because it sees it. Also, the things that sees as rocks, but aren't exactly really rocks. Sometimes they do that when it goes at something head on, but it quickly sorts itself out because now it could see. Now we want it to detect food. So what we could do with food is that we could just, if you want, you could add in precise movement to your placement, which all you have to do is hold down your clicker and press control and you get precise movement. So we just do that and bam. So over here, these are going to be our food detecting eyes. So we're just going to make them, set them up so they detect food, like so. And put them over here and over here. Okay, now when this one sees food, it wants to go towards it. So we just got to swap them out. Oh. Oh, wait, that walked? Okay, for a second I thought I misclicked. Silly me. But there's now going to be a problem. Let's just say your creature sees food that's next to a rock. It's going to become confused. It's going to start spazzing out because it both sees a rock and it sees food at the same time. So it's going to be like, do I want to go towards the rock or do I want to? Like it's going to be like, do I want to go away from the rock or do I want to go towards the food? So what we're going to want to do is that we're going to want the rock eyes to turn off the food eyes when they activate. So when the creature sees a rock, it'd be like, slamming my face into a rock isn't going to be worth it for food. But food has no use for it now, which is exactly why we need to give it a mouth. Just let me, bam. So, yeah, now you see a new thing, which is basically its calorie meter. When that calorie meter goes all the way up, it makes a child, which I'll show you what that's all about once we see it do some intelligent actions other than avoiding rocks, because eventually it's going to spot food and it's going to be like, hey, that there's food. I'm going to swim towards it. Well, one of these days, it's not going to do it. Anyways, let's just saw the rock. You see, instead of face playing right there, being like, ooh, food, it was like, no, there's a rock there. I don't want to eat that food because rocks are bad. Rocks hurt my noggin. Anyways, let's just make it eat. really quick so I could demonstrate to you reproduction in this game. Now there's a lot of food here. Now bam, it just laid an egg. Its calorie meter went all the way up and is now going to lay an egg. Now you could click and drag eggs, just like a lot of things in this game. But bam, the egg hatched into a little tiny little baby. You see? Look at that little baby. So cute. You could touch it. You could touch it and thrash it around if you want. You could do anything with the baby. It doesn't matter. You could let the baby live its life, or you could force feed a baby and make it make more babies.
That's it. I'm calling Child Protective Services.
So babies, when they eat, they grow up. Once they lay the first egg, they get to full size. So yeah, reproduction as finest. Now, oh, just laid another egg. You can. Oh, well, and then again, this game is not finished. So what do you expect? But it's still a good game once you get to know it. Should definitely play it. Now, we just showed you guys something a little bit simpler. Now let's dumb it down a bit. Like, by a bit, I mean let's dumb it down a lot. We get a jet. Now, a jet is activated by neurons because it's a special organ which activates by neurons. There are also harpoons, which I would show next Crescent Loom episode, suction cups, and balloons. So, yeah. Now, what we're going to want to do is that we're going to want to just place always on no one right there, connect it to the jet, and bam! It has 2 brain cells, which is 100% more brain cells than I have. But anyways, so this is the simplest possible creature so far. Well, it could get simpler if you like remove its mouth, but there we are. Pretty simple, pretty stupid, but it still kind of is viable. I mean, it got a little bit of speed to it, and I guess you can make it smaller if you want. But for the sake of torturing the creatures I've created, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it dumb. But yeah, it just ate, so you know, I guess it could live out in the real world. Oh God, what happened to you? Ooh, wait a second. Ooh, poor thing. Poor thing got fused into a rock. Sometimes when eggs hatch, if they hatch too close to like a rock, the child can spawn inside of the rock, which is a bad news bears. Well, bam. You're good now. Now let's just exit out of this map to show you guys the most complicated creature anyone has ever made so far and is documented. Because, I don't know, maybe someone has made something more complicated than this, but there's no way on telling since, you know, there's no way on accessing the creation, and I misclicked again because I'm stupid and my fat sausage fingers are stupid. Great start to a new series, am I right? Anyways. Okay. Now, matter of fact, is the one who created this creature. I also created a living nacho. And no, it's more like a Dorito. I created a living Dorito. And other things. Now, half of these things I haven't created. This is the community's creations. But let me just show you my pride and joy. Levy is more than over 100 body parts at the very least. 3 sections of her brain is used, and yeah, she's the longest thing. Well, not the longest thing, but she's pretty dang long, like probably the 3rd longest thing anyone has made in the game. And it's, yeah, just admire her beauty. Now, this over here is her brain. I spent a lot of time on her brain, if you can't tell. You know how, remember when I said that things can get really fancy? Yeah, things are fancy, aren't they? Yeah, things are really fancy. This here controls her eyes. Ignore this simple trash that just activates her tongue, which is a harpoon. This over here is a harpoon on. Anyways, this over here controls her jaw, but her movement center is her biggest brainest part. Biggest brainest? God, my IQ is so low, it's phenomenal. Anyways, but yeah, this is probably one of the biggest and most smartest saved creatures in this game. And yeah, she's so big that she creates lag. So, yeah. Now theoretically, she is much faster than this, but the lag just makes her look slower than she actually is. But yeah. Now I did give her one simple weakness, and that's the crippling fear of walks. She won't activate her jaws, she won't activate her tongue, she won't try eat, and she would just try to avoid walks as if they were wildfire. You know, just a little quirk which I give to her because walk's bad, open void area is good. Now, let me just really quickly show you guys, after she gets out of this small little cave area, how her jaw walks. Wait for it. Okay. Now, if I just ever so carefully grab a piece of food or plankton from. Damn it. Just a sec. This is a delicate. There we are. Yeah, very small, very hard to grab. Now, if I put this where her jaw is. Oh, she stuck out her harpoon tongue. Bam. Now she's going to activate. Oh, she sees a walk. She's like, ooh, food. Oh, wait, never mind. There's a walk. I'm scared of walks. Levy, Levy, Levy. Oh, Levy. Oh, there we are. Oh, that was a let down. Apparently she detected food, but the food didn't stay. But if I just. Oh, that's strange. Her suction cups unlocked. The mild levy bugs, not really in-game bugs, but just like creating a creature bugs. She is still being created, as you saw all of those versions of Levy. But because her jaws aren't working properly at the moment, I'm going to have to fix that. I could just show her jaws in action by just hijacking her brain and activating her neurons. Now look at this. Wait. Oh, one. Wait. Bam. Look at that. Yeah, pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this is Levy. This is Crescent Loom. Great game. I mean, if you can make things like Levy in this game, then it's destined to become an extremely great game. And it's not even really completely finished yet. It sure does some bugs. That's a little bit of an under exaggeration, but recently I've been contacting the developer, and he's been fixing a lot of bugs. So the game's getting a lot more better. And it was already pretty good to begin with, but now it's just getting even more better. And imagine what it would be like once it actually gets completed. You know, that'd be cool. This game would be very nice. But again, not really much people know about this game, so which is why I'm making a YouTube video on it. And yeah, great game. Play it. Try out yourself. Link down in the description, and I hope you like it. Anyways, I'm gonna have to stop this episode here. Like and subscribe and tell all of your friends, and I'll see you next episode. Bye.